Hey, what's up? It's Bond. Let's talk about Mass Effect. And today I have a bit of a self-deprecating video. I am going to talk about my worst Mass Effect 4 hot takes. So I put together a few things that I know I've been riding pretty hard, some opinions, some hopes for the future of the game, talk about why it's honestly probably kind of a bad take, but also support why I feel that way and go from there. This was inspired mostly by an idea I had a few months ago, but also by the interesting response I occasionally get with my tweets and my posts on the Mass Effect subreddit and stuff like that. And I'm especially motivated because a day or two ago, there was a post on the Mass Effect subreddit saying, say something nice about your most disliked squad mate. I said that Legion does what they do. Now, Legion isn't really my most disliked squad mate. I may have been poking the bear a little bit. It's actually Zaid. I can't stand. I also don't love Legion either. But someone responded saying that all I'm in the subreddit for is to give the worst takes possible. And so let's talk about my worst takes. First, that Liara isn't older in the 2020 Game Awards teaser that confirmed the development of this next Mass Effect game. Now, she does appear a little bit older. Like that's the base fact. You know, that's the base take here is that yes, she has the wrinkles. She has the hood. Some people have said that only matriarchs wear that kind of clothing. I'm not totally sold on that, but it is a reason to think maybe it's possible. Sure. Like I'm not going to deny that, you know, they could be hinting that she's older. The main reason I've pushed back on that is because nothing else they've shown us yet in the 2021, 2022, in 7 days that they've shown us a poster and some teasers and a bunch of concept art. Nothing else yet has convinced me that this game is, from what they've shown us so far, going to take place, you know, dozens, if not hundreds of years in the future beyond Mass Effect 3. And what I mean by that is that, like, in especially the 2022 in 7 Day, there's multiple concept shots of planets, and you see sky cars and shuttles, and they're the exact same type of sky cars and shuttles from the trilogy. My whole thing is that if we're talking about a Milky Way that is dozens, if not hundreds of years in the future, you know, beyond Mass Effect 3, beyond the trilogy, I have to imagine there'd be some visual styling differences and stuff. And these like really common things, like the sky cars would maybe look similar, but have some more futuristic take. Same with the shuttles and things like that. And there's other reasons to believe it too. I think that in the 2022 teaser as well, there's the main subject of that tease was the relay. And all around the relay are a bunch of ships. There looks like there's ships that are like helping construct the relay, and maybe just some that are kind of hanging out. Maybe they're supply ships or whatever. And all of those ships kind of look like what we see in the trilogy. And so, like, there's nothing that screams to me, this is hundreds of years after, with all of the advancements that these civilizations were going through after the rebuilding, you know, say after the Reaper War, and all of this technology that these civilizations are going to get from all these dead Reapers. It's all the technology from millions and millions of years of species are going to be in, you know, the carcasses of these Reapers. And so, like, in theory, you would assume that things would be advanced. Therefore, I don't believe Liara is older, not because of the reasons people have said. She has wrinkles, maybe she's doing a matriarch thing, I don't know. But more so because nothing else, I think, supports that. The second hot take that I kind of understand why people dislike is that Andromeda just shouldn't be involved in this game. The main pushback on that is that Mike Gamble, who's the lead on this game and the project director, I believe, has pretty blatantly hinted multiple times that there is at least going to be some involvement of Andromeda in this next game. Now, my pushback on it, and the reason why I don't expect it to be that big, is because, as far as I can tell, the 2020 teaser, the 2021 poster, the 2022 blog, and the little video and all the concept art all appears to be in the Milky Way. As far as I can tell, I've seen nothing that really suggests to me, and maybe I'm misinterpreting it, that it's taking place in Andromeda, or that it's supposed to be, taking place there. I really believe that the one thing that people have pointed out, which I think is interesting, is that in one of the concept art pieces last year in 2022, there's a bunch of signs, and some of the signs are like logos of these companies, and they are logos that appear in Andromeda as well. My explanation for that personally is that, or my maybe my hopium or copium, is that there's nothing in Andromeda that wasn't brought there. And so everything that's there was brought from the Milky Way. And, the signs and all that would probably be existing companies in the Milky Way that either, funded or sponsored or whatever things going to Andromeda in this mission. And that's why we see stuff in both places. Or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I want Andromeda to get a sequel one day. I suspect at the very least we'll get some kind of reference to Andromeda in the next Mass Effect game, even if it primarily takes place in the Milky Way. I personally think that the mysterious benefactor and the whole infrastructure and everything that happened around the Andromeda mission will be explored in some capacity back in the Milky Way, because they're going to have to kind of retcon some stuff to make that whole mission make sense, even though we never heard anything about it during the trilogy. They'll have to do some funky work there. But I really hope we're not doing like where we're traveling back and forth to Andromeda, where, we're having, our character wakes up from cryo sleep after being sent to Andromeda. Like, I don't want to see that. But like I said before, I think Mike Gamble has made it pretty clear that at least in the smallest way, and probably bigger, we're going to have some involvement of Andromeda. And my hope that Andromeda, really, I would love if it almost got forgotten simply because of the handcuffs it puts on the future of the series. That's just a bad take, and that it's going to be involved in some capacity. And I think we will eventually get a sequel to Andromeda. My third hot take is that they should bring back Shepard, or it's a bust for the next game. This is obviously a highly personal opinion, and what's most interesting about it to me is that it's not like everyone agrees or disagrees, depending on when you played the game, or if you're like an OG fan. It's not like all the OG fans want Shepard back, and all of the newer fans like Andromeda, or people who haven't even played yet, want a new character. I've actually found that it's a subset of people who do want Shepard back, and that it's actually a bunch of OG players, it seems like, who don't want Shepard back because they've been playing as Shepard for 10 plus years, and they want something new, and maybe the Ryder twins didn't quite scratch that itch, and they don't want BioWare to just go back to Shepard. And then newer fans from Andromeda, fans that may have not even become fans yet, may not care about Shepard and may not want to go back and kind of do that nostalgia thing where, you have someone like me who's newer to the series, who really likes the trilogy, doesn't care for Andromeda, and I want Shepard back, but it's a purely selfish thing. If you want my honest take on this, well, I personally want Shepard back, and if it was done correctly, I think it could be really good for the franchise and the game. I honestly think the easier and probably the overall better thing to do is to have a new protagonist. I would love to have like a fresh N7 recruit that we play as, that doesn't have like a ton of history, that can kind of be a blank slate a little bit for us to completely put ourselves into, and to kind of experience this post-Reaper War Milky Way, in this Mass Effect galaxy and universe, and with fresh eyes, because a lot of the people playing will be brand new to the series, or will be Andromeda fans who maybe don't have the same love for the trilogy, or trilogy fans who just want something new. I think that's totally fair, and it wouldn't surprise me if that's what they do. Now, to defend my own take and the possibility of it, I think there's been a suggestion or tease of Shepard in 2020, 2021, and 2022. In 2020, that teaser trailer at the Game Awards, the shard of helmet that Liara picks up, I don't know how it got there. I don't know whose it is, but you just can't tell me that in the announcement of this series returning, that Liara, of all people, picking up a shard of an N7 helmet isn't symbolic of Shepard. I just won't believe it. The other thing is that in 2021, there's these four figures walking away from the ship, north or up, and one of them is obviously a Krogan. There's argument about what the middle one is. Some people think it's a Andromeda Initiative armor person. I think it's a Turian. The person at the front appears to me to be an Asari, which I think people are generally agreeing on. And then the person on the right, I think it looks like an N7. I think it's obviously a helmet with a red stripe in the middle. I think it's kind of human sized. And so I think that's another hint to Shepard. And then finally in 2022, we had N7 Day with this footage of the Mass Effect relay that's being built, or some kind of relay. And if you look close enough, I believe that footage is actually looking out the window or into a monitor. And I believe in the bottom left of that, you see a reflection, and it looks like two stripes with a red stripe in the middle. And I think it's harkening back to Mass Effect 1. When that game starts, you see the stripes on Shepard's armor and the reflection of the window right when you start the game. And so that's my take. My fourth quick hot take is that, and my final one, is that the Destroy ending should be canon. I acknowledge that this is not a super popular thing, because it would suck to disrespect a bunch of people's choices and preferences from the trilogy. I know that, I believe from stats they've released, that Destroy is the most popular ending, but not by like a huge margin. It's by a little bit, but it's not, hands down the best, the most picked ending or the preferred ending by people. People really get into Synthesis, really get into Control. Some people even like the Refusal ending. And I think that it would be rough for BioWare to pick a canon ending and disrespect any part of the player base, especially a relatively significant part. Now, on the other hand, I think it's way more disrespectful to the game to do what I've seen a lot of people suggest, is that they somehow combine the endings or retcon the ending to make it something more reasonable, or to do a huge time skip. One, because I don't think they're doing that, and two, because if they did such a big time skip that it kind of made whatever ending happened not matter, which I've seen suggested often, that almost doesn't make sense to me, because like the end result of the three choices are so different that I don't see like a couple 100-year time skip mattering. If you pick Destroy, all the Reapers are dead and the universe moves on in some capacity. If you pick Control, all the Reapers kind of pick up and go, but they're still around and they're still a threat, and they're being controlled by a human psyche that can probably be corrupted by itself, essentially. And then 3, the Synthesis ending, everyone's combined and is friendly now. I just don't see a way for them to just be like, it's a couple 100 years later, and whatever one happened. It's just too different for me. The other thing is I think, again, like I said before, I think the Destroy ending has been at least suggested in at least a couple of the teasers. Back in that 2020 trailer, a big part of that teaser trailer shows Liara walking up a hill, but if you pay close attention, she's actually walking up a Reaper, and in the background is the silhouette of what appears to be another dead Reaper. That to me seems like a pretty clear suggestion. And then in the 2021 poster, you have dead Geth everywhere, and the whole poster is shaped like the head of a Geth. To me, that suggested they're saying, hey, look, all these Geth are dead. This happened in the Destroy ending. But I think they were still suggesting, like, but the Geth are still going to be part of this game. What does that mean? And maybe we're going to have some kind of redemption arc, or maybe some kind of mission to bring back the Geth. I don't know. But I think both of those things pretty heavily suggested that the destroy ending could be canon, and maybe the one that they go forward with. And the reason I think a canon ending might be necessary is that I just think that it could be so messy in any way to try to make all of the endings work, and that you're either going to disrespect the entire trilogy and the entire player base by doing a big retcon, or you're gonna, maybe have to develop a kind of shallow game if you find a way to make all of the endings work, or you're gonna have to do something weird or silly to make that happen. I don't know. Let me know what you think down in the comments. What are your hot takes that people don't like about the next game? What do you think about mine? Let me know down in the comments. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. I've got more stuff like this coming. If you can hit the like button, that'd be super cool. It helps more people see the video. Like I said before, comment down below. You can check me out all over the place, obviously here on YouTube. I'm Bondiesel on Twitter and Twitch, where I do stream a couple times a week, including some Mass Effect. You can also catch my weekly podcast called The Echo Cast, where we talk about gaming news, speculation, reviews, and stuff. It is on all podcast platforms and right here on this YouTube channel. That is The Echo Cast. That's all I have for this one, so until next time.